Ladies and gentlemen, gather around. I bring you a tale from ancient time. A story of valor, sacrifice, and a vow that changed a life forever. This is the story of Jephthah, the son of Gilead, and a hero of Israel. In the vibrant heart of Gilead, where the hum of daily life echoed through the streets, a boy named Jephthah was born into a complex legacy. His father, a man of high standing and honor, commanded respect within the community. Jephthah's father, Gilead, was a man of standing within his community. He was likely a figure of authority or influence, which earned him respect and honor. In ancient societies, having a prominent position in the community, whether as a leader, warrior, or influential member, was a significant factor in gaining respect. Yet Jephthah's mother, a woman of questionable reputation, cast a long shadow over his life. Jephthah's mother was a prostitute. In ancient Israelite culture, the status of women involved in prostitution was highly stigmatized. Such women were often marginalized, and their children were viewed with scorn. This societal view was deeply ingrained, leading to a negative perception of Jephthah's mother and, by extension, of Jephthah himself. The disparity between his father's esteemed position and his mother's tainted reputation created a rift that shaped Jephthah's early years. The shame associated with Jephthah's mother's occupation likely contributed to the social stigma that Jephthah faced. In a patriarchal society where lineage and family honor were paramount, the status of one's mother could significantly impact one's standing. Jephthah's half-brothers, driven by this cultural prejudice, viewed him as a blemish on their family's honor and treated him with contempt. This cultural context explains why Jephthah's father was respected while his mother was not, and how these social dynamics influenced Jephthah's life and the treatment he received from his family and community. His half-brothers, burdened by the stigma of their mother's status, harbored deep resentment towards Jephthah. They saw him not as a brother, but as a symbol of their father's indiscretions, and their jealousy turned into hostility. They drove Jephthah away, denying him any share of the family inheritance, and forcing him to leave the only home he had ever known. With a heart inflamed by betrayal and a soul hardened by loss, Jephthah set out to forge his path in a world that had already judged him. His determination was fueled by the need to prove himself and to overcome the harsh circumstances that had been thrust upon him. Jephthah's journey took him to the land of Tob, a harsh and rugged region characterized by its challenging terrain and unforgiving conditions. This was a place where only the strongest and most resilient individuals could thrive. In Tob, Jephthah found a new beginning, far from the scorn of his past. In this rugged land, Jephthah began to assemble a group of outcasts and misfit individuals who, like him, had been rejected or marginalized by society. These men, drawn to Jephthah's strength and leadership, formed a band under his command. Despite their diverse backgrounds and troubled pasts, they found unity and purpose under Jephthah's guidance. Jephthah emerged as a towering figure among them. His natural leadership qualities, forged by hardship and resilience, made him an inspiring and formidable leader. His prowess in battle and strategic acumen became legendary, and word of his skill and bravery spread far beyond the borders of Tob. In this land of outcasts, Jephthah found a place where he was respected and valued. He transformed from a castaway into a respected leader and warrior, earning a reputation that would eventually make him a significant figure in the history of Israel. Here in Tob, Jephthah was no longer an outcast but a hero in the making, his name becoming synonymous with courage and leadership. Back in Gilead, a storm of peril was brewing. The Ammonites, a fierce and relentless enemy, loomed over the land with their war drums echoing threats of destruction. Their armies were a formidable force, casting an ominous shadow over Gilead's future. The people faced imminent danger, and the once thriving land now stood on the brink of devastation. In their time of dire need, the elders of Gilead found themselves in a desperate predicament. Stripped of strong leadership and unable to mount an effective defense, they were confronted with a crisis of survival. With their options dwindling and their hope fading, they were forced to confront a painful reality. The very man they had cast out, Jephthah, was now their only hope. Picture the elders, burdened by their guilt and shame, making the arduous journey to Tob. Their hearts were heavy with regret as they approached the rugged land where Jephthah had built a new life. They were driven by a mixture of desperation and humility, knowing they had wronged Jephthah, but now had no choice but to seek his aid. Can you sense the weight of their shame and the depth of their desperation as they sought out the very man they had once rejected? Their journey to Tob was not just a physical trek, but a symbolic return to confront their past mistakes and plead for redemption. The elders of Gilead, filled with a mix of regret and desperation, eventually found Jephthah in the rugged land of Tob. They approached him with a plea that carried both urgency and a weight of apology. Recognizing his extraordinary skills and leadership, they offered Jephthah a pivotal role. If he would lead them to victory against the Ammonites, he would be elevated to the position of head and leader of Gilead. This offer was not just about military leadership. It was a chance for Jephthah to reclaim the honor and position that had been unjustly stripped. The promise was a powerful gesture of restitution, acknowledging both his past worth and the wrongs committed against him. It was a rare opportunity for Jephthah to rise from the shadows of his past and take his place among those who had once rejected him. As Jephthah considered their offer, the tension was palpable. He was not only preparing to confront a formidable enemy, but also grappling with the complexities of his past. The prospect of leading the very people who had once cast him aside was a heavy burden. Could he trust them after their betrayal? Could he rise to the occasion and fulfill the vow they had made? Jephthah faced a crossroad, a moment brimming with uncertainty and gravity. On one hand, he had the chance to secure his legacy and restore his honor. On the other, he had to confront the pain of his past rejection and the challenge of leading a people who had once deemed him unworthy. As Jephthah assumed command of Gilead, he took a measured approach before plunging into the chaos of war. He dispatched messengers to the Ammonite king, seeking a diplomatic resolution. Jephthah, skilled in rhetoric and strategy, crafted a compelling argument. He recounted the history of Israel's claim to the land, detailing how their ancestors had not wrongfully taken the territory from the Ammonites, but had acquired it from the Amorites, who were displaced long ago. Jephthah appealed to reason and justice, hoping to avoid bloodshed. However, the Ammonite king, consumed by pride and a relentless desire for conquest, dismissed Jephthah's plea with disdain. His refusal to listen and consider the merits of Jephthah's arguments left no room for negotiation. The path to war was sealed, and Jephthah prepared for the impending conflict with a heavy heart. In the quiet solitude beneath the expansive sky, Jephthah made a vow to the Lord, an act of profound faith and desperation. He promised that if God granted him victory over the Ammonites, he would sacrifice whatever first came out of his house to greet him upon his return. This vow was made with a heart full of hope and a spirit driven by the dire circumstances at hand. The promise was both a powerful declaration of his faith and a solemn commitment that would carry unimaginable consequences. The battle unfolded with relentless ferocity, a symphony of chaos, where swords clanged and shields shattered under the relentless assault. The battlefield was a grim theater of conflict, where every strike and parry resonated with the tension and desperation of the fight. Amidst the maelstrom, Jephthah emerged as a commanding force, his strategies and leadership cutting through the turmoil. With the precision of a master tactician, he fought with a blend of skill and fervor, believing firmly that he was guided by divine favor. Against all odds, Jephthah's leadership turned the tide in favor of Israel. His forces, driven by his unwavering resolve and strategic genius, secured a resounding victory over the Ammonites. The once feared enemy lay vanquished, their threat extinguished, and a fragile peace began to blanket the land of Gilead. The victory was not just a military triumph, but a restoration of hope and stability to a people who had been under the shadow of fear and oppression. As the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded, Jephthah returned home, his heart swelling with a mix of triumph and relief. His journey from outcast to hero was complete, and the weight of his victory was matched by the anticipation of reuniting with his family and returning to a life he had once known. The moment was deeply significant, filled with the sweet taste of success and the soothing balm of peace. Yet, as Jephthah approached his house, he was met with a scene of pure joy. His daughter, his only child, emerged with radiant enthusiasm, dancing and celebrating her father's triumphant return. The air was filled with her laughter and lightness, a vivid testament to the victory and restored peace. But Jephthah's heart sank as the joyous welcome starkly contrasted with the grim reality of the vow he had made to the Lord. The promise he had sworn, made in desperation and faith, loomed over him with crushing weight. The joy of the moment was overshadowed by the agonizing realization of the price he would have to pay. The victory that had once seemed so sweet now bore the heavy burden of an unimaginable sacrifice. In the wake of this realization, Jephthah tore his clothes in a traditional act of profound grief, a public acknowledgment of his impending loss. His daughter, displaying remarkable bravery and understanding, requested 2 months to roam the hills and grieve with her friends, knowing she would never marry. Her request was a poignant blend of courage and grace as she sought to embrace her remaining days with dignity. During these 2 months, she wandered the hills, reflecting on her dreams, preparing to face her fate. When the time passed, she returned to her father. With a heart heavy with sorrow and resolve, Jephthah fulfilled his vow with the solemnity and gravity it deserved. This sacrifice marked the end of a tragic chapter in their lives, underscoring the profound cost of his victory and the unyielding nature of his faith. Jephthah's story is a powerful testament to the weight of our words and promises. It illustrates themes of honor, sacrifice, and the unforeseen consequences of our decisions. As you reflect on Jephthah's journey, from outcast to revered leader and the ultimate cost of his vow, consider the commitments and vows you have made in your own life. Each vow carries its own gravity and potential repercussions, shaping not only your path, but also influencing the lives of those around you. What promises have you made that weigh heavily on your heart? Reflect on how these commitments have guided your actions, influenced your relationships, and shaped your journey. Jephthah's tale invites us to examine the power of our words and the profound impact they can have on our lives and the lives of those we love.